Hello everyone. So today let's solve the problem number 5, longest palindromic substring, right? So uh, let's see what the question states here. We are given a string S. We have to return the longest palindromic substring in S. So when I hover over palindromic substring here, a substring is a contiguous non-empty sequence of the characters within a string. Again, a substring is a contiguous non-empty sequence of characters within a string, right? So just keep this in mind, right? Palindromic substring, basically they have given a string. Sorry, a string is palindromic if it reads the same forward and backward, right? A string is said to be palindrome if it reads same forward and backward. You can just go with this one, palindrome as well as the substring when you hover over it, right? Simple one. Palindrome means basically if it reads the same forward and backward. And what is the substring? It's a contiguous non-empty sequence of the characters within a string, right? So given a string S, we have to return the longest palindromic substring in S, right? So see here, suppose we are given the example BABAD. Here in this case, BAB is the longest palindromic substring. Why it is longest palindromic substring here? BAB, when we read forward and backwards, it is BAB itself, right? So this is the palindromic substring, and this is also the longest palindromic substring, right? So ABA is also correct here. ABA and BAB. So BAB we will give BAB because the first one that we get here is BAB, right? So that is the reason we have considered BAB here. They have considered BAB. This is fine, man. Right? BAB or ABA, both are valid ones basically, right? So this is fine. Now let's move on with example 2 here. We have CBBC, right? So BB is the longest palindromic substring with a length 2. And we have to consider this one. What do we call substring? A substring is a contiguous non-empty sequence of characters within a string. We cannot consider this one B. And suppose if we have somewhere B, we cannot consider that one, right? So we have to consider the continuous ones itself, right? So BB, this is continuous. This one itself is a palindrome. Next, BAB. See here, B we can consider this one, A we can consider this one, and then we cannot consider this B, right? So we have to consider the contiguous one itself or the continuous ones, right? So this is fine, man. Now let's do one thing. They have given us wonderful examples just for the sake of understanding here. Now we have the understanding of the question. Let's do one thing. Let's quickly discuss the this one approach followed by the complexities, and then let's write the code, right? So the approach that we will be going with here is DP. The approach that we'll be going with here is DP, right? So here, yeah, we'll be solving with the DP, right? So what we'll be doing here, first, let's go point wise, right? Here, first thing, we'll be considering the first example, the same example for the approach. So we will be making use of the 1D DP, where DP of J will mean substring. So suppose this one, DP of J, basically, what it means, it will mean substring S of this one, I to J. I to j that we consider, right? I to j is a palindrome. While we iterate I from end to start, while we iterate I from end to start, basically, right? So this is fine. Now let's move on with the second step, man, right? So for each I, we will be going from right to left. For each I, end to start, I have said in the previous point, right? So we use 1D DP where DP of j, nothing but this is Boolean, right? So this will mean substring S of I to j is a palindrome while we iterate I from end to start, right? So this is fine, man. Next point here is for each I going right to left and each j from I to end. So S of I equals S of j, right? S of I equals S of j, right? So S of I equals S of j, basically. Right. So, and either j minus I less than 2 and either j minus I less than 2, length 1 or 2, basically, or dp of j minus 1 or dp of j minus 1 here, right? So which represented s of I plus 1 to j minus 1 from the previous iteration, right? S of I to j is a palindrome, then s of I to j is a palindrome. So this is the idea that we'll be going with, right? So if you didn't understand, see, whatever I have said, we will be implementing the same thing for the first example, on the first example, by considering the first example. Sorry, let's do that one so that we understand this one even clear. Now we have the string here BABAD, right? So BABAD. Right. The first step here would be we will start from I equals to 4. Suppose we have here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So 0, 1 to string I'm counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. We will start from D basically, right? So we'll start from I equals 4, nothing but here in this case it is D, right? So we'll mark the single character palindromes, right? Single character palindromes. So now we'll move to I equals 3, A equals A, I equals to 2, B equals B. Then, so this one, first single character palindromes will mark, right? So this one, D is over. Then we'll go with A, then we'll go with B actually, right? Again, we have A and B that we will ignore, right? Single character, again, it is repeated, right? So now we have DAB single character palindrome. Then we get the palindrome, basically this one, what do we call? Then we have BA, BAD and none longer, right? So none longer. So we can, if suppose if when we consider two letters, right? So this one will be BA, and then for the three letters it will be BAD, right? So from backwards we are going basically, right? So this is fine, man. BA, BAD, none longer. I equals 1, nothing but A here. When J equals to 3, characters A to A and inner DP of J minus 1 is true. Now ABA is marked. So here ABA is marked, right? So this is fine, man. Marked. So I equals to 0 is nothing but B. When J equals to 2, B to B with the inner true, BAB is marked, right? So we track the maximum length and return either BAB or ABA, BAB or ABA, right? So first in the iteration this will come. So let's go with, let's return this one itself, BAB, right? So both are of the length 3. ABA is also of the length 3 and BAB is also of the length 3. And first in the iteration this will come. So let's return this one as the output. So the output that we got here is BAB, which is equivalent to the output that they have mentioned for the example 1 within the question. So our approach works absolutely correct here. So as we are completely familiar with the approach and the complexities, let's do one thing. Approach. So let's move on with the complexities part. Basically, we haven't discussed the complexities part yet, right? So let's move on with the complexities part. So what will be the time complexity here? The time complexity would be big of n square. So we will be making use of the nested loops here, right? So two nested loops over string length n will be making use of two nested loops over string length n. And so that is the reason the time complexity would lead to big of n square, right? So what will be the space complexity here? The space complexity would be big of n, right? So the time complexity would lead to big of n square because we'll be making use of the two nested loops over string length n. And what will be the space complexity here? The space complexity would lead to big of n because we'll be making use of the Boolean array DP of size n, right? So the time complexity and the space complexity for the code that we'll be writing in the future would be big of n square and big of n respectively, right? So now as we are completely familiar with the approach and the complexities, we are good to write the code. Let's start writing the code, right? Now, suppose, let's handle the edge cases here, empty or the length one, right? So if s equals null or s dot length is less than 2, then we have to return s. This is fine. Yeah, next let's go with the string length one. Int n equals s dot length. This is fine. The next step would be, let's go with the DP array. So DP of j will mean current DP state for s of I to j. We know this from the approach, right? So this one will be Boolean DP equals new Boolean of size n. Yep. Now the next step is we have to go with the start index as well as the this one max length, right? So let me initialize start index with a variable start here. Also, let's go with a max length, max len equals initially 1. Yep. Now let's iterate I from the right to left so we can reuse the DP. Basically, what it does, DP, it stores the results for I plus one row, right? Let's go with a reverse iteration. So I'll just go with for I equals n minus 1, I greater than or equal to 0, I minus minus. So within the for loop, what we'll be doing? So we'll be going with the previous that will hold old DP of j minus 1, I plus 1 and j minus 1 for the each, right? So I'll just go with Boolean previous equals false, right? So let me go with a one more for loop here. So this one will be in j equals I, j less than n, mm, plus plus j. Right, so within the for loop, what shall I do? Let's save the old DP of j, right? So this one will be Boolean temp of mm, temp equals DP of j. This is fine, man. The next step would be if the characters match and the inner substring is palindrome or the length less than or equal to 2, then we have to mark true. Let's go with a simple if condition here. If s dot char at of I, so this is fine, which is equivalent to s dot char at j. So this is also fine, and j minus I, if it is less than 2, or let me go with the previous, then um, let's go with a s of ij, s of I to j is the palindrome, right? So we have to set the dp of j equals to true here, right? So let me do that, and after doing that, let's go with a current palindrome length, meaning I'll just go with a current length. So this one equivalent to j minus I plus 1, right? So this is fine. Now let's update the best if longer, right? So this one will be if current length, if it is greater than max length, then within the if condition, so this one will be max length equal to current length, right? So this is fine. Yep. Uh, and also let me go with start equals I, right? So this is fine. This will be else what we will be doing. We will consider this one. What do we call? We'll assign dp of j equals false because it is not a palindrome, right? Else dp of j, let me assign this one to the boolean value false, right? When it is not a palindrome, when the string, when we cannot form a palindrome within the string. Now let's shift the previous for the next j, right? So this becomes old dp of j. Now we can set this one previous equals temp, right? So this is fine, man. Yeah, let me come out of this one entirely. Now let's go with, or let's return the longest palindromic substring. So I'll just go with return here s dot substring. So this one will be start comma start plus max length. So this one will be uh max length. This is fine. Yep. So we I'm just returning the longest. We are just returning the longest palindromic substring here. So let me format the code once and let me hit the run button here. And length greater than max length. Cannot find the symbol current length. Line number 19. So we haven't initialized current length here. Oh yeah, I have written full here. Let me change this one to CURR. Let me format this one and the run button. Compiler error. Cannot find the symbol max length. Oh, this L has to be capital. Line number 19. Let me hit the run button again. Yeah, now the sample test cases are getting passed. So let me hit the submit button quickly. I hope this works for all the test cases. Let's see. Yeah, this is quite slow, but yeah, this works correctly, right? This we got accepted. Whatever the code that we have written works absolutely correct for all the test cases, right? I hope solution part is completely clear along with the approach and the complexities. For now, this is it. Thanks for watching, guys.